Hi, I'm Rich with insideHPC. We're here in Provo, Utah at Adaptive Computing headquarters. Let's just start at the beginning. Who is Adaptive and who do you help?
Well, Adaptive Computing, Rich, is one of the companies that powers some of the largest compute centers and also private clouds in the world today. Our specialty is automated workload management. And we help schedule those jobs and drive the utilization rates way up so that you get the most out of the hardware that you have. As you can also tell, and as you mentioned, we're located here in beautiful Utah, and we're just thrilled to have the supercomputing conference right next door to us this year.
Yeah. So, we talk about all these massive machines and machines with millions of cores now, right? We're in the millions on the top systems. What kind of trends do you see out there for 2013 and beyond? What are you seeing?
Well, first of all, obviously, and you just mentioned, Moore's Law is alive and well. I don't see it being broken anytime soon. And we continue forward. And scaling is definitely going to continue to be a trend, and I think it will be a trend into the future. It is hitting the point where scalability on scheduling is really starting to favor the architecture of our product. And we are seeing a lot of customers that never dreamed they would be at the scale that they are now looking at, very concerned about how to move into that space. So I think that's a huge trend. A couple of others. Application insight, I think, is going to be very important as we move into 2013. Are researchers really as concerned about metrics around CPU and memory? Or perhaps more concerned in how many genes match per second? Or how many simulations per second they're able to run? And so I think we can get more application awareness and application insight. At the same time, we know there are applications that if you run them at the same time, they actually conflict with one another and are less efficient. So that kind of smarts, I think, could really improve application performance. Raw utilization rates of CPU and memory may be the same, but the applications get done faster. So I think that'll be big. And there are a couple of other key trends around both big data and virtualization and cloud as well out there.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because everyone's talking about big data. And can you tell, how does Adaptive fit in that picture?
Well, first of all, many of our customers have enormous amounts of data. I mean, multiple petabytes of data is very, very common. And I think big data is a huge trend that everybody is looking at. If you think about an HPC, we're already doing it. In Adaptive, we're already doing it. We're already dealing with companies about big data. And it really is fun. I happened to be out at a cloud conference a couple of weeks ago, and I was with a whole bunch of those up-and-coming cloud companies that got invented in the last couple of years. And it's funny, of the 7 CEOs on the panel, I was the only one that actually had customers running many petabytes of big data today. Not hoping to get there, not trying to get there, already there. And I think we would find that's true all across HPC, that this isn't big data isn't something we're trying to get to. We've been doing it. We're just trying to do it better. So issues like data locality. We need to know where the big data is located. You can't just move that data quickly across networks. It's got to be close to where the jobs are running. And so that issue in particular, we need to continue to do to improve so that we can do better there. Issues of being more closely integrated with storage management systems so that we can make that much more efficient. Looking for jobs that are conflicting on an I/O perspective. For example, if you have two jobs that are both going to end up accessing the same physical drive all the way down to that level and schedule them at the same time, they're going to run much, much slower, maybe 100 times slower than if you could find a way to schedule them separately. So those kinds of issues, I think, are going to be huge going forward.
Now, I'm curious about the challenges for Adaptive, right? When you have these kind of massive machines, you probably don't have one here in the basement to try this stuff out on, right? I mean, but you do have customers that have these large-scale deployments. Do they help you develop the software so that you can spot those kinds of things that you mentioned?
Yeah, we do have close customers that allow us to test our software in their environment, that get engaged on the beta test side. It is something that I particularly have been very enamored with and try to make happen. I mean, even in large software companies, it's difficult I was CTO of Symantec for years, and I can tell you it was difficult, even at a large software company like Symantec, to duplicate all of your customer environments in-house. And so it's absolutely essential for any software company to have strong partnerships with their customers. And I'm so thrilled with the kinds of customers we have, particularly in the academic and research space, that allow us to have access to their machines, to come on site, to remotely access and do some of the massive testing that we have to do.
Okay, well, kind of a wrap up here. You know, everyone's talking about the cloud, and HPC in the cloud seems to be something else, and we're still talking about it. How does Adaptive help bring that together?
Yeah, well, one of the reasons that I've been so attracted to adaptive computing since day one, when I started at this company last year, has been that synergy between HPC and the cloud. And I am convinced that there is tight synergy there. Many of the things people in private cloud are trying to do have been done in HPC for years. There are a few things that are being done in virtualization, though, that HPC could benefit from. Not in all environments, but in some environments. It's easier and quicker to start, stop, alter jobs. It gives more flexibility. Imagine if you have a researcher or you have a particular set of jobs where somebody just needs to set up a whole machine environment. You could do that from a virtual perspective. So I believe we will see more virtualization over the next couple of years. Not predicting it'll be anywhere close to 100%. I think it will be a very small percentage. But I think there are clear use cases where that will happen. And at the same time, the advantages in terms of being able to do charging and accounting and costing and pay-per-use, those are all hallmarks of cloud and self-service. And we are seeing demand for that in HPC. And we have seen in 2012 HPC cloud business, and I'm confident we'll see far more in 2013.